well, 200 up to about 500 pounds. So enormous lion size difference. So we'll keep watching these hyenas and the leopard. So Peter is going to keep on the trail of those lions. We've got guys out on foot, the 2 trackers from the local area. Huge tracking tradition there is amongst the Shangaan people here. And thank you for being with us today. We're going to head off now. If you want to keep watching, please join us, wildsafariLive.com. It's been a fantastic morning. You just never know what you're going to find out here. We'll see you tomorrow, in fact this afternoon, and then tomorrow again. Stay safe and happy wherever you are in the world, and thank you for joining us. Bye-bye. And the leopard's looking at us. Right, hello internet people, lovely to still have you with us. This is not a very TV friendly leopard, obviously. He's hidden himself in a tree that was not particularly conducive to good viewing. But now he is at least turning his head nicely towards us now. What an amazing piece of luck we've had with him today. Brian and I were just saying we thought we'd used all our leopard luck in the last little while. We found Karula on foot 2 days ago, and then we stumbled into Djuma on a Nyala kill. And for those of you who are perhaps joining us from the TV broadcast, Djuma is Mvula's son, who we managed to see 2 days ago. What a joy that was. He's 3 years old now, still living in his dad's territory, but still sort of starting out on his life as a solitary territorial male leopard. He will have to move away eventually. But Mvula, like I say, is 11. He'll be 12 fairly soon. And, you know, after that, they will start to lose condition. They'll start to lose muscle mass. And when that happens, they will become far less able to look after their territories. Now, a very brilliant question here from Heidi in North Carolina. Heidi, you've seen these 3 hyenas here lurking around and pinning the leopard in the tree, because that's exactly what's going on. And Heidi, you want to know how far the hyena den is from here. Heidi, not far at all. We were actually on our way to the hyena den, spotted the hyenas in the road. There they are. Thought, oh, well, that's nice. We can show the people. Watched them for about 3 minutes, and then looked up, and there was Mvula sitting in his tree. So we're not far from the hyena den at all. I'd say probably about a quarter of a mile. Now, the leopard, of course, is a nocturnal hunter, and that means that their eyes are very different from ours. And Taylor, you want to know what the comparison is between our vision and theirs. The big thing in color vision. So Taylor, there are 2 that you get in your eye. One is called a rod, the other is a cone. Responsible for what? The cones are responsible for color, and you can just remember the C and the C. Responsible for discerning light and dark and contrast. And the birds, many of the birds have got lots of cones and fewer rods in it. The predators, the nocturnal predators like leopards and lions, they've got more rods in there. And the rods allow them to see far better at night, but it does mean that their color vision is impaired. They don't see we do. And Brian, you were telling me the other day the 2 colors that they see, it's not black and white, it is more
blue and green.
More blue and green shades. So everything looks sort of bluish and greenish to them, but the contrast between the light and the dark will be a lot more pronounced than it would. than it will for us. And Faye in Canada, you want to know, is there a chance to kill in another tree? Yes, there quite possibly is. Here we go. There goes the leopard. He's just running. I can see him there. The hyenas have left him. Right, we're going to follow the leopard. The hyenas, we know where their den is. We'll try and follow this magnificent Mvula, the rain, territorial one in the area. Wasn't that special to see? Here he goes. Now, Sadie, please remember, tell us where you're from. It's so lovely to know where you're from. Sadie, you want to know how long a leopard can be in a tree. Sadie, they can be in a tree for as long as they need to. So if there was any kind of genuine threat, like if there were wild dogs under the tree, or some lions, it's absolutely stay up there for as long as he needed to. Eventually the hyenas will go away, though. They'll get impatient, they'll want to go and find something to eat, and they'll go off there. Now he's going in some pretty bush, so if we do lose him, I'm sorry, but we have the most wonderful view of him. But I'm going to try and stay with him. We will push over the odd tree, in fact quite a few dead trees and things. It'll sound a lot worse than it is, and most of the trees will pop up behind us after we've been over them. There he is. He is watching us, and I'm just going to lower my voice a bit, even though we are making a bit of noise. I think he's going into some pretty thick stuff here. Right. I'm not sure about this lot. That way. Okay, we'll try and go through there. Last is something away. Okay, let's head across to the bushwalk with Scott. He'll show you a fascinating smaller creature, and I'll try and keep up with this leopard. See you just now.
How awesome is this caterpillar? And the wonderful thing is that we actually know what it's going to turn into. So I've got my book out and I'll show you a little bit later. This is a dice moth larvae, and they've got this incredible kind of candy striped coloration, as well as these crazy little hairs that grow out of it. Can you believe such awesome animals exist here? Not only the wonderful big stars of the show like Mvula, and I hope James does manage to find him again, but while that we can enjoy the smaller things. What I'd like to do is show you why the adult animal, and it's the individual in the middle of the page here, and it's quite clearly understandable now. It's got those on each wing, very similar to that. See, a lot of other wonderful moths do occur here in South Africa for now, and we're going to send you back to James, who's on the hunt for that leopard.
We're still following you through here, everyone. Wonderful caterpillar, that tail up, and what it does is basically tells the squirrel or the bird, I'm not after you, just let me walk by. Don't alert anything else to my presence. I wonder if he isn't going to go straight towards it. He's going to do as well. And as he did, I duck now. See his thing? Look at that. That's wonderful. Now, while we're driving through here, River and Rayleigh, you want to know which has a stronger bite, a leopard or a hyena? Numbers involved. The hyena out here definitely has a stronger bite than the leopard does. The hyena apparently has, and this was put to me by Hayden yesterday, the hyena has a bite as strong as a great white shark's or a grizzly bear's, despite being so much smaller. So a hyena has a far stronger bite than leopard. That's not to say you want to be bitten by a leopard, let me tell you. Not that I've been bitten by a leopard. Brian, have you been bitten by a leopard? an offensive insect. William, you want to know, William, you want to know if when there's a leopard in a tree, will they hunt from there? Will they jump onto us? William, no, they won't. We're not afraid of that. It's very unusual. I've seen it once on film, and that may have been set up. They don't hunt from trees as a rule. We're going to hand you over to Peter quickly. I'm going to try and get through this difficult area, and we'll see you on the other side.
Well, welcome back this side. We've actually just taken a short break as well after a brilliant hour. And just in the riverbed, you're not far from where we're looking for that lioness. Just hoping to maybe hear something or an alarm call from a, kudu or a bushbuck or something. But nothing yet. We're going to keep looking around, obviously, for lioness. Fantastic news. I mean, firstly, to know that it's Mvula. He's one of my favorite leopards. We were just chatting on the vehicle with VM as well, saying, well, firstly, all leopards are our favorite leopards, but Mvula, big male, beautiful. And it's I don't think we're allowed to advertise anything, so let me do that. It is a little lion, but inside, actually what I want to show you, I found this bug, which I don't know what it is. It's one of the most beautiful things I've seen. Look at that. It is just absolutely stunning, the colors of it. It looks like a ray. I don't even know how to explain it, except that it's absolutely gorgeous. There we go. What I'm going to do is keep it steady so you can see it, but I'm going to take it to Hayden just now. Drop it off with him so he could show you again, because it is really one of the prettiest things I've ever seen, even underneath the belly. But I'll let Hayden show you this thing properly. It's got insane colors. I mean, I saw it and I thought I just have to show this to you. So we're going to let this guy climb inside the lion, so to speak, and we'll take that to Hayden somewhere in the course of the drive so he can show you nice and close. Yes. Good comment, Tracy. Well, we're going to move along, so I just want to show you this quickly before I chat with you, Tracy. This is just one of my favorite dead trees. This is called a leadwood, and the leadwood is incredibly hard. I was actually telling Drew last night, one of the guys visiting here from Nat.Geo Wild, and saying that this wood is extremely dense. In fact, it's denser than water. It's 1,280 kilograms a cubic meter. So 28%, call it 30% to round it off, denser than water. You cut a chunk of that wood, throw it in the water, it sinks. So those trees can sometimes stand for 1,000 years after they've died, which I always just thought is amazing. Termites, rain, sun, cold, snow, any of those things do nothing to that tree. So beautiful tree. This is a ebony. African, it's called an ebony sometimes, or a jackalberry. Beautiful tree as well. We're going to make our way up towards Dari Dam, see if we maybe get some more signs of this lioness we've been looking for, and also drop that bug off with Hayden in a bit so that you can have a good look at it. But, great! He's got Mvula again. Enjoy the leopard.
There he is, everybody. We've come through some bush that can only be more closely described as the windy impenetrable forest. We're still with him. I think he's heading towards some water. We could just go straight round to the water, but I don't want to take the chance to lose him. I haven't spent a huge amount of time with this leopard, and he is my favorite. So I want to try and spend as long as I can with him. You may be able to hear just behind us, there's a squirrel alarm calling. They alarm call from a huge distance. I think squirrels, their little rodent eyes are extremely sharp. We also came past some nyalas, and the nyala didn't react. They kind of looked at him a little bit. He had his tail up. They didn't alarm call at him. It's very interesting. Tree that he's walking past there, and every little dead tree, of course, is a little ecosystem on its own. And one of the things that loves to eat dead trees, Scott is going to tell you about now.
Well done to James for finding the leopard again. Look at how awesome these termites are, though. It's a hive of activity here, and some of them are carrying dead bits of plant that they're going to carry underground and slowly consume. There's also a few soldiers that have got those very big mandibles that you wouldn't want to be bitten by. They're not very big, though. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put my hand down here just to give you an idea of size. But really wonderful to see all this action and activity. They're incredibly important animals, the termites. These are harvester termites that live under the ground, and their mounds do not create massive castles like their cousins, the fungus-growing termites. but they all provide a very important role getting rid of dead vegetation that they'll carry down into these burrows. Look at how awesome this view is. You can see there each individual segment of the one antenna there. That's one soldier monitoring all the workers coming in and out. And you'll see them drumming their head from time to time. They shake their head in order to communicate. And isn't that fascinating? Such a high-speed movement. Very complex animals, and imagine the organization required to keep track of all these individuals hard at work. There could be millions of individuals within this colony. Awesome stuff. And isn't it fascinating how we can be enjoying sightings of the big dangerous animals as well as all of the small little critters that are equally important in this ecosystem. They all play their specific role. There's a bit more head drumming now. We can feel a few raindrops falling. I can actually see one that's just fallen right at the base of the burrow there. Can you see that tiny little raindrop there? Crazy! So, that's going to make the rest of the safari interesting. We have already put a little raincoat on the backpack that Jean-Andre is wearing to prevent the complex technology getting you these pictures getting damaged. Awesome stuff. Well, we're going to continue on through this drizzly weather and send you across to Peter, who's found another animal he'd like to share with you.
Well, perfect weather for, well, many creatures, certainly for termites. This is great weather for them. Normally lots of activity. Fascinating animals. I mean, if you just think of how they socially live. But from extremely social animals to an almost solitary animal, this is one of my favorite antelope that we don't really get to see very often. So this for me is up there with a beautiful leopard sighting in terms of enjoyment. This is a bushbuck, more specifically a bushbuck ram or a male. And bushbuck are in the same subfamily as kudu, that big antelope with the stripes on the side, nyala, also striped antelope on the side, but their horns are all very similar. They've got that sort of ridge that runs along the horn in a spiral shape, so they're the spiral-horned antelope. Very shy antelope. They live in these drainage lines or these little gullies, and not often that you see these ones. So this is really special for me. As I said, not only are they very pretty, but also because they're quite rare, and a little bit Bambi-esque almost. You know, you could sort of see them in being in the Bambi story and fitting in, but absolutely stunning. Great, we've got a question.
Look at that. We've come back to where the buffalo are. We're waiting for water here. It's the only water for quite many miles around, and hoping that the leopard will come through here. A hyena has just come through the bushes behind us, and I wonder if he isn't also tracking the leopard. Here he comes. The youngster is one of the ones that was at the tree. Sorry, we're just parked in a fairly awkward position. You know, while we sit here, Danny, you were asking about what animal we'd like to sit down and have a chat with, if given a chance. Well, I've had two answers to that. I think you said an old elephant bull. Certainly an old elephant bull would be a lovely one to sit and have a chat with. Just excuse the aerials there. We can't move and get both animals in the picture, so we're going to have to look at the aerials briefly. Danny, yes, an old elephant bull would be lovely to sit and chat to. But also, I think, if you've ever actually spent time on foot out here, a young male leopard, like the age when Mvula was a youngster, I'll just speak forward. Look at this buffalo there. I'm not very happy that the hyena's there. He's taking a step forward. Look at this. It is starting to rain. Well, just a little bit, just the odd drop, which is such a blessing out here. I'm looking carefully to see if the leopard doesn't pitch up. It's a very brave little hyena, that. There you can see the buffalo all coming up here. They just won't tolerate having a predator around the place. They just don't like it. Now the leopard would be more circumspect than that hyena. So if he has come out here and seen the buffalo, he may have decided against coming to have a drink here. He'll just wait his time in the thick bush here. So we tried to follow him, everyone, but I'm afraid in the absence of a bulldozer to drive, we couldn't get through the bush there. So we're hoping he's going to pop out here. Mvula, which means rain, of course, as the gentle drops start to fall from this warm but grey sky. Let's go. I'm going to move the car and move around him just in case the leopard doesn't come in up from behind. Renee in West Virginia, you want to know how many animals will come to drink at a waterhole in a day? Renee, it really does depend quite largely on how dry it is and how hot it is. So this particular waterhole on a very hot day would be frequented by elephants. Oh my goodness, just look at this, Brian. Look at this little bird here. Renee, I'll get back to your question. Look at that little thing. It's like a little swallow. What he's doing there, it's a youngster. It's definitely a young bird. It's a little swallow. Or a martin, one of the two. Isn't that special? He's sitting maybe 6 feet from us. That's just spectacular. So sweet. And I think a youngster had not flown away because we're, quite nervous. At least not nervous of us because he's young. Oh, that's too sweet. There go the buffalo bulls. They're wandering off probably to have a bit of a graze. And Renee, I was just chatting to you about what comes to drink here. So in a dry, hot day, we're in a bit of a drought at the moment. You'll find elephants, buffalo, impala, nyala, kudu. Everything will come down and drink here that needs to drink. This is the only kind of fresh water for miles around. So, many things. It just depends on the time of year, the heat, and that sort of thing. I'm just listening to see if I can hear any bird's alarm calling, a leopard possibly coming out. And then just to complete the discussion with Danny, like I said to you, Danny, I think an elephant bull is a very good one to be able to sit down with. But a male leopard on foot, a young male, they're so inquisitive that they will approach you in a completely calm and unaggressive manner, not to the extent that you could ever touch them. But they'll come and they'll spend some time kind of walking around and looking at you like this and looking behind you. That feeling is, while it's not a chat with the leopard, it is the most astonishing feeling. And Brian and I had the privilege, we were walking the other day doing a bushwalk, and we came across a termite mound, sort of a bit like this one here. It's about the same sort of height. And we looked on top of it, and there, just watching us, was Karula, the queen of Djuma, and she's an 11-year-old female leopard, and she was just watching. She didn't know we'd seen her, you see. So leopards will stay still until they're sure that you've seen them. And so I looked at her, and I saw her, and I quickly turned my head away, and I said, Brian, there's a leopard. And she didn't see us, so we moved a little bit away, and we sat down at about 50 meters or 150 feet from her. We sat down and we stared up onto the termite mound. And she watched us, and she went to sleep, and she watched us. That feeling, that kind of connection with an animal that is completely wild is profound. And I think that was just a very special experience for both of us. Not so, Brian?
Very much so.
There he is. Brian's so appreciative he's showing you his thumb. Okay, so the buffalo have moved off. I'm going to sit here for a little bit longer and have a look and see. There goes a little swallow. Blown off. So we'll sit here a little bit longer and People often ask about the most dangerous animal out here. They think, is it a buffalo? Is it a hippopotamus? Is it perhaps a mosquito? One of the most dangerous animals out here, Scott, right now.
Now, this little animal's moving very, very quickly, so it's going to be difficult for you to count its legs. But it has 8. And 8 legs makes it not an insect, but an arachnid. And this arachnid is a tick. It's a parasite that sucks blood. Thankfully, it's not too interested on latching onto me yet. But if we were to leave it to its own devices, it would find a nice warm spot, probably between my legs or under my armpits. And that's where it would latch on and start sucking blood, and that incredibly beautifully colored body would fill up with blood like a little balloon. So that's that. It's moving very, very quickly, and I'm going to put it back down onto the ground and let it carry on with its day. It's going to, often what they'll do is actually they'll wait on blades of grass. There he goes there. They'll wait on little blades of grass, and any animal that walks past they'll then latch onto, and again, like I said, they'll find a nice warm spot where there's soft skin, easy to penetrate, and then start sucking blood. Now you get birds out here called oxpeckers, and they specifically feed on these ticks, and if it wasn't for the oxpeckers, there'd be huge amounts of these of the other animals, like the buffalo you saw that was nearby that hyena having a drink. That sounded like fun. So very important for the ecosystem, I guess, in keeping weak animals out of the ecosystem. Those ticks will bring their health down, but also looking after the oxpeckers, those birds that feed specifically on them. Thankfully the rain has died down, so it doesn't look like our safari is going to be interrupted. We've got a question through from Barbara regarding those termites we saw a little bit earlier on, and good to have you with us, Barbara. She would like to know whether the soldiers that we saw were actually ants or termites, and they're all termites. You get many different types of
I actually don't know what that is called, but I would guess something like an emerald beetle or a jewel box or something like that. It's just a beautiful, it's one of the most beautiful insects I've ever seen. So looking forward to getting Aiden to having a close look at it, and maybe even some of the detail. I was looking at it closely just now, around the head, the thorax, the front part of the beetle, on the wings, even on the belly, on the side here where the legs are. So that is amazingly beautiful sort of detailed marking. So looking forward to HT's sort of in-depth analysis of that bug. And obviously the last part of the morning drive, we have 25 minutes we would take to go. So lots of things that can happen. And also, so there's a few things I'm thinking about. It is a nice opportunity this week. You know me, I like to do these sort of show you a little bit more what's going on here. So it's going to be fantastic to show you the safari tent where Hayden is sitting, and I can see a whole team of people there, and I can show you a few of the people as well. They're all there. This is the brilliant, passionate, visionary, excited crew of Wild Earth, and all the different aspects of it. So there's the tent. Sorry Damien, I just missed part of your comment there. That's the tent, that's where HT is sitting. Yeah, Damien, this is sort of almost contradicting itself with temperatures. We are in summer. It can be extremely hot. We get up to well over 100 degrees Fahrenheit in summer. But at the same time, when it's like today, when it's a bit rainy and overcast, you can see I'm wearing a fleece. It's quite cold. And so yeah, it does vary. Generally hot, but rainy conditions like this can be quite cool. And there's a lovely view of the safari tent. Here's some of the crew as well sitting around the fire area. And the vehicle, the Land Rover you see in the back there, that's the one from the drone. Morning. May we say good morning to you? There we go. I just thought they might be a little bit shy. These guys aren't that used to cameras. And I want to quickly say hello because we don't see her very often. We have to look over on the right. Sorry, I'm going to insist now. Emily! Fantastic to have you here. Lou had a birthday just the other day. James the pilot. Eugene fixing and looking after everything for us. Jamie. Did I miss anyone? Oh, Mr. Wallington, of course. There we go. Guys, unfortunately, I'm all... Oh, well, let me show you this thing quickly. I'm cabled up here, but give me a second. Hello there. Mr. Turner.
Very, very beautiful beetle. You get to know exactly what species, so you might have to bear with me. I might even have to throw it back to the bush. No. So bushwalk and then do a little bit of research on this, but I'm pretty sure it's a jewel beetle of some description, and under the microscope we'll get a really nice look at the exoskeleton, the iridescent colours of it. Hello, buddy. Hey. You all right, mate? Take a seat. Take a seat.
Where's the coffee?
Actually,
sorry, this is mine. Sorry, I'm going to go.
There you go. There's your coffee. Hello, buddy. Hey. You all right, mate? Take a seat. Take a seat.
Where's the coffee? Actually, this is mine. Sorry, I'm going to go.
There you go. There's your coffee.
May I actually sit?
Yeah, that's what the seat's for. There you go.
I didn't expect this. Sorry, I was
steaming coffee.
Facetious there. So that
right, give us a look. So it's alive, which is always fantastic on television.
Guys, I'm not going to talk too much because I tend to do that. Also, it's just lovely to be with a buddy of mine looking at cool things.
Pop it in there. See if we can get it in there.
It's the most beautiful thing ever.
It's gorgeous. We'll just
underneath
have to
as well, on the belly.
Okay, we just want to try up the other way.
Plus, this is the first time I'm actually sitting here with you, seeing all your skulls and everything.
It's kind of cool, isn't it?
Kinda. It's way cool. This is
right,
awesome.
now I'm just going to have done a microscope here. I know, we have that problem up here. I'm going to just cross over to the microscope for a second. Okay, now this little guy's going to try and get out, but have a look at the colours. Have a look at the colours. I think, oh, just let me focus this, guys. I do apologise. It's just very tricky. There we go. So it's a magnificent jewel beetle, and there's a lot of different species. So what I'm going to try and do is do a bit of research for you in the break after we cross back to James. But you can see that fantastic, and bugs and all different insects play a huge role. As Scott was saying, with that beautiful sequence that he did with the termites there, he really told you, and it sort of emphasized how important it is that every single creature fits into the ecosystem, and every single creature has a specific role. And that beautiful creature there is alive, and we'll take it back to where we found it. But have a look at that, those magnificent colors. And
I find it outside in the bush, so it's quite easy to take it back, luckily.
Yeah, but it's always great to take them back to the area where we found them, isn't it? Let me just get that down. Look at that.
Oh, stunning. Look at the spots.
Really, really beautiful. I'm just moving. He's walking around the edge of my little Petri dish here, and I'm just really, really cool. So what we'll do... Thank you, sir. Great thing to bring, and fantastic to have you here. Take a seat while we cross back to Scotty, and Scotty's got another beautiful, beautiful insect with gorgeous colours on it as well. Let's see what he's up to.
Look at that.
Can you believe how awesome this is? It's a robber fly, so it's a predatory fly, and you'll see those little hairy spikes on its legs. It'll use those as it latches onto its prey. What it'll do is it'll fly up and wrap all 6 legs around its prey, creating a kind of a basket. Those little hairs that you can see will aid in keeping the prey away from the fly if the prey is harmful in any way. And then it'll use this very, very sharp proboscis sticking out of its mouth to penetrate either the eyes or the skull of their prey, and then they'll suck out the hemolymph or bodily fluids. How cool is this animal? We've been so spoiled with the predators this morning, a lot of which have been quite small, not just the big leopard, but the chameleon earlier, then the robber fly now, a spider earlier. So lots of awesome predators out here in the African wilderness. Now, as much as I'm loving this incredible view of the robber fly, there's another interesting animal in a small marula tree next to us. So let's show you that. So I'm going to put the robber fly back exactly where I found it. They like to hunt from very set places, and this is exactly where we found it. So we're going to put it back without disturbing it, and we try and do that as much as possible, create as little disturbance as possible. And then I'm going to point out an interesting bug. I don't have a clue what it is, but again, it's got awesome coloration and a really nice antenna, and it seems to be feeding on some sap from this tiny baby marula tree. And you can see this strange kind of growth just above the bug. That's been caused, I'm fairly certain, by the bug. And you can see it's full bellied. Its wing casing is kind of half the size of its abdomen at the moment, indicating to me that it's eaten twice as much as it usually would have. So a time of plenty for this little bug. And oh, look what I've just spotted here. It's an Arathusa, or an egg case. It looks like for a praying mantis. They've got this very distinct seam down the middle. And that, like I said, is an egg case, also known as an Arathusa, of, in all likelihood, another wonderful insect we find in this area. Oh no, wait, there's another one. Jean-Andre, come around this side. There's another little bug. This side, sorry. And it's over here. It looks like a little crab spider. Just over here. And it's incredible how if you just stop and look closely at your surroundings, you can often find so much going on. You just need to take the time and the effort to go through things with a fine tooth comb, and that way you get to learn about the other interesting animals in the African wilderness. Awesome stuff. Well, we're gonna send you over to James, who's found you another interesting critter that roams through the grass and the ground.
Now everybody, it is Big Cat Week, and this bug, or creepy crawly if you like, is an ant lion, so very appropriate for Big Cat Week. And what he's doing is trying desperately to get away from me. His little mouth is moving, and his little mouth is moving because he is savaging my thumb, and I've taken great personal risk, of course, to bring you the delights that is this ant lion. They look a little bit like dragonflies, and I'm just going to move him around a little bit so you can see, but you can tell the difference because they rest with their wings folded, unlike a dragonfly, which of course rests with its wings out. And Brian, you might be able to zoom in on the incredible injury that he's done me. Can you see the little white bits of skin there? Incredibly nasty injury. So this is the ant lion. They don't have a sting at all, and their larvae, and I'm going to let him go now, their larvae eat ants. They're voracious ant predators, and that's why they're called ant lions. So we're going to let him fly off. Wonderful. And in the left-hand side there, of course, you can see the hyena. We've come to the tree where Mvula was. There was definitely a little bit of carcass underneath here, and I think these hyenas have finished off whatever Mvula was eating today. One or two vehicles drove down this road this morning before we saw him. I suspect very strongly that he was in a thicket here. It's very thick bush. You saw how thick it is, and possibly underneath that bush there. I suspect he was eating whatever it was, a duiker. It looked very full, so maybe a duiker or a steenbok, and I think he was discovered by the hyenas, and he disappeared up the tree. I'm pretty sure the hyenas then finished off his meal. Just as he left, one of them had a piece of bone in his mouth, and I think that's what was going on here. What an amazing stroke of luck. We're going to head off towards the hyena den, see if we can get an update on that little cub. Because it's cool, I suspect they might still be out. But let's see. The plants have evolved thorns to stop being eaten. So the herbivores have evolved various strategies to cope with the thorns that get them. Giraffe have these kind of, they produce lots of saliva which helps their mouths to slip over the thorns. Elephants just are not affected by it. They've got extremely thick skins, don't seem to be affected by thorns at all. The baboons and monkeys will climb happily on the most thorny trees. They've just evolved various strategies to cope with it, to cope with thorns, and I think that's it's just part of that evolutionary arms race that is going on out here. There we go. I think the little one is out. His mother is certainly out. Let's sneak very slowly in here. The mother is definitely out. The baby, let's see at this stage. Right there, Brian? No, the baby isn't out. But the mother is. So we'll sit here a little while and see if the youngster doesn't come. This is definitely one of the older members of the hyena den. She's definitely got blood all over her face. Had a good feed today on something, I suspect, the spoils of Mvula's kill. So for those of you who perhaps joining us for the first time, this termite mound, this castle of clay behind us, used to be, it's probably hundreds of years old, used to be the mound of a termite. Oh, not one termite, of course one termite would have struggled to build that. Millions of termites. And it would have been opened up. You can see the hole there at the top. That would have been opened up by an ant bear or aardvark, first word in the English dictionary, and then modified by the hyenas. Now, Anne, you've been watching the hyenas today, and you say, what is the purpose of the back section being shorter than the front section? And you may have noticed that it's very similar to that of a wildebeest, the design, and it's an adaptation. There are two reasons for it. One of the adaptations is for stamina. Hyenas can move huge distances. They can run at this sort of loping canter for many, many kilometers without getting tired. So that's one of the things that hyenas are able to do because of that design. Also, they have to support those tremendous jaw muscles, and I think that's one of the main reasons that they have that kind of height in front of them. Those shoulders are carrying most of the weight. Not on this particular one. This is a very fatty. She's just had a big meal. Now, it's quite interesting. We've just been learning about it. We've done a lot of hyena learning in the last little while. I am going to postulate that this is a lower ranking female that has got the cub inside the den here. The reason for that is that higher ranking females will normally bring their kills back to the den and feed their cubs from the kill here. She looks to me like she's eaten. She may have eaten here, but maybe away from the den. So if she ate away from the den, the low-ranking females will normally do that. They'll find something to eat away from the den, try and convert that into milk before bringing it back to the den to feed their youngsters. The higher-ranking ones, because they monopolize feeding opportunities, will bring meat back to the den. So it'd be interesting to know if she actually brought anything back here, or if she ate quickly wherever she found it and then came back to suckle her youngster. Whatever it was a lot. You see the blood all over her face. They're not nearly as fastidious about their hygiene as some of the cats are. Oh, head up. All right, we're going to sit here for a little while and wait and see if the youngster doesn't come out, or if some of those other hyenas don't pitch up here. They certainly seem to be coming in this direction. Let's head across to Peter, see what he's got to show you, and we'll sit right here.
Well guys, welcome back in the sky. We have just passed what we call Power Line Road, which is the road on the power line, obviously running towards Boetela Lodge. And we're on our way to Impala Plains, which is not only a nice area to see, it's a beautiful place, but it's a nice open area. You quite often find impala in that area, wildebeest. So let's see what we can find. There's a bit of time left. Where are we now? It's 7-8 minutes left of the drive. That gives us about 7 or 8 times 60 seconds if we could spot something. It's a lot of opportunity. We're going to keep looking around. And so I actually want to say this every time, and I don't, but isn't it just so cool to be able to have this view? Just echoing the sentiments from Final Control there, guys. And the TV shows, it's so busy we don't get to say good morning to everyone. But Tara and Nikki, Oh, cool. You can see how we covered. We're ready for the rain. Very important. If the rain comes, we're going to stick it out here. We are prepared for it. In fact, I'm even hoping it's going to rain this week. I would love to take you on safari in the rain. It is a beautiful way to experience nature as well. And of course, you have the massive benefit that you'll be dry and that you can go and get coffee whenever you want. So I do hope we get to have at least one drive together in mild rain. And yeah, just as I was saying, just a big good morning to everyone in the control room this morning. Vicky and Tara and Kirsty and Jerry, Peter, Alex, everyone. It's not always time to do so. It is fantastic to be part of this amazing team. And yeah, let's see what we find. Impala Plains just around the corner. Okay, what's that? Tracks on the road. Big animals walked here. Hey! I think HD's got some more in-depth information on that precious little insect we brought him. So I'll see you back in a bit. If not, see you for the PM Safari, Sunset Safari later on.
Right, we've got it. What a beautiful beetle it is. And have a look under the microscope. Just check this out. It is a magical looking creature. And insects are so beautiful. You've seen so many great ones with Scott on this bushwalk and with James yesterday. This is a rainbow shield bug. Now, we had one of our viewers, I think it was Angela, I'm hoping I got the name right, noticed that it only had one antennae. Probably one was broken off. Ellen it was. I do apologise, Ellen and Dave. Thank you very much for noticing that. Just before we came live, it did have... it was cleaning that antennae, and that antennae is basically the animal's communicate, or the way that it sees or the way that it feels around, and if there's any dirt or any moisture on that, they will clean them quite often. You see it in centipedes and many other creatures as well. These guys get to about 12 to 14 millimeters long, and they're really obvious when you see those rows of black dots along their back. They're common throughout sub-Saharan Africa, so right down to South Africa where we are, and they're highly mobile. They haven't flown yet. I've got the lid off this little guy at the moment, and he hasn't flown away, so I hope he stays for a little bit longer. And they basically eat whatever food source is available for them. They will eat anything really, and they're just a really super cool creature. And to get them under the microscope and see those beautiful colours, they do eat a lot of poisonous plants as well. Some of the euphorbias here that are not palatable to many other creatures, these guys will eat. So a rainbow shield bug, and how fantastic is that? We are going to go across to another beautiful insect. It's Insect Central this morning with Scotty on the bushwalk. See you soon.
Look at how awesome the coloration is on this young, elegant grasshopper. It's going to be about 4 or 5 times bigger once it's fully grown, but it still has this wonderful, bright coloration. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put my finger there just to give you an idea of how small it actually is. It's minute! There we go. There you get an idea of how small it is. And one of the many little critters that we got to share with you on this morning's bushwalk. It's been so much fun, and it's been wonderful having you all along. Thanks so much for your questions and comments. And until next time, we're going to send you out to enjoy some hyena.
So we are still with our hyena. She's sleeping in sweet repose. And there are a few things I just wanted to show you about this after we've watched the leopard in the tree. If you look at the claws, you can see the claws sticking out of the feet, and that's just like a dog's claws. Now remember, hyenas, of course, are more closely related to cats than they are to dogs, but their claws resemble the canids far more closely. And those claws are totally useless for climbing, and that's why a leopard is just very easily able to get away from a hyena. William Pooley, you want to know how we can prove that this is a live drive? Well, William, you've just asked your question. So, I mean, that's how we're going to prove it. This is live. I say sometimes, which means that it can't be very scripted. The camera jerks around a bit, which wouldn't be the case if it was edited, of course. And if it wasn't live and it was Big Cat Week, well, we'd have just edited together some amazing shots of leopards and lions devouring various bits and pieces around the place, William. We are live, and you are talking to us, and that is just the most special thing in the world, I think. Don't you? Live safari from here in Africa, the magnificence of the Greater Kruger National Park. So thank you, William Pooley, for your question. I think it was a question rather than an slight veiled attack. But William, we are live. We are real. It's been an incredible morning, and I thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. It really is a true privilege to be able to jump on, as Hayden uses the term, the largest safari vehicle in the world. Well, that's exactly what it is. So thank you, everybody, for your questions and comments. Let's have a we're going to say goodbye to you now. Thank you, Brian, for your efforts today. We're going to get a last shot from the air over quarantine clearings, and we'll see you this afternoon. Bye-bye.